Rise and shine on Australia's Vision Christian Radio.
You're on Rise and Shine with Fel and Andy. And Andy, there's been a lot of news about the weather.
Absolutely, and those North Queensland floods, although the waters are receding, Phil, there's still heaps going on up there. Heaps of people are suffering. So I think we just need to touch on that again and just revisit what's going on in North Queensland.
Well, in case you missed it, here's the news.
The devastation of major flooding in North Queensland has been laid bare as some floodwaters recede. Streets in the town of Ingham are lined with ruined belongings, supplies being flown in to several remote communities. Hundreds of roads in the region remain cut off.
Well, Phil, we have Joel Abel from the Convoy of Hope on the line. And Joel, welcome to Rise and Shine.
Thanks, mate. Great to be on your brekkie show today.
Yeah, a lot of our audience probably don't know about Convoy of Hope, so just briefly tell us about Convoy of Hope.
Okay, so we're a faith-based charity, humanitarian organisation, been around for 30 years, based out of the US, but started up in Australia in 2020, right in the middle of the bushfire season, actually, which is crazy. And we predominantly I guess we're most known for disaster response around the world. If you see it on the TV, Convoy is usually part of it. And we do a whole lot of global programming. So we do women's empowerment programs, help them get out of poverty into jobs. We feed kids, over 600,000 kids every school day, train farmers to work the ground for sustainable crop yields, and just do a whole lot of community engagement projects, work mainly with churches, through churches to help them serve the community. And in a time like this where it's disaster zones, it's working through the churches. They have great reach into the community, so we do what we can to help people.
When you're in a disaster situation, and often, we see this when we go overseas and we see, humanitarian aid. It's interesting to think here in Australia, when we have a disaster, what does that look like practically on the ground when you guys get involved?
It's different in every disaster. So if you look just the last couple of years, like fires are completely different to floods. The humanitarian crisis are different again. But mostly, no matter what the issue is, food and water is always one of the first things that people need. Food, water, sometimes lodging. Even in floods like what we're seeing in northern Queensland, people can't get into their homes, or they can, but they've got no power. Like 33,000 people got blocked out of power over the last 10 days or so. So getting access to those things that we take for granted every day, those things are gone. They're missing. Trying to get access to places that are in a disaster can be difficult, and just trying to get the actual products that people need to them on the ground is one of the hardest things to do.
It must be an incredible feeling. I'm trying to imagine being a mum or a dad or anyone in that situation. You've got children to feed and mouths to feed, and then someone comes along with some hope, like a convoy of hope. It must be incredible to be part of that and that Christ witness on the ground.
Yeah, it is. And to watch people in the midst of their trouble, it's disheartening. Seriously, guys. You watch single parents or any parent with kids and watching them sitting in the gutter, sitting in a recovery centre, watching them walk into a disaster zone recovery centre, and you can tell they've just been through it the last 24 hours. They've got nothing except what they can carry and what's on their back. And they just need a bit of hope. They just need someone to sit down and listen to them. And it feels like hope is so far away in those situations.
Yeah, and obviously you did touch on the North Queensland situation. So what are Convoy and Hope planning on doing in that region at the moment?
Yeah, so first step always, guys, is to work out what the greatest needs are, work out what the safety issues, work with authorities on the ground. What we're hearing there is it's been hard to get into some of the worst areas. Halifax and Ingham have been some of the worst hit places, and the bridge has gone out. I think it's back up. It's definitely up for emergency services today, maybe for residents later today or tomorrow. So just working, we've connected with a great church there on the ground in Ingham. That's kind of the worst place that's been hit. We want to see what we can do right around the entire region, but work through that local church there in Ingham, and then just ascertain what the needs are. And what we're hearing on the ground right now from residents is food and water and places to stay. So people are bunking up in homes that are dry, that didn't get washed out, and just trying to coordinate those efforts before we get there on the ground. We've got a team leaving tomorrow morning, first thing, and it will take a little bit of time to get up there. and then just try and get what we can in the town. We always like to buy supplies from the towns closest to try and stimulate the economy. Otherwise, bring what you can. Fuel is rationed, so trying to get hold of that for generators and tools that we need on the ground. But food and water is what's needed most, is what the local residents are telling us.
What an incredible blessing.
And isn't it good, Phil, again, Christians there, being part of the answer, being the salt and the light. It's really encouraging to hear, Joel, and just knowing there's people like you, not just in Australia, but even in America. I'm sure some of the financial backing from America is going to help this situation. Just knowing that the body of Christ is working together, bringing answers, bringing solutions. And so, Joel Abell from the Convoy of Hope, if people want to connect with you, they can just find you online, can't they? Convoy of Hope. But you're a busy boy, Joel. You're in charge of Convoy of Hope Australia. We want to thank you so much for joining us on Rise and Shine this morning.
No, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks. Hey, and all the listeners out there, just keep praying for these towns and for the people, and let's see what we can do. Lend any donations, like anything we can do is going to help. And we're positioned, Christians right now on earth, a position in times like this to bring light, like you said, Andrew, and just to bring God's grace and comfort into these situations. So let's all band together and see what we can do.
Amazing. That was Joel Labelle from the Convoy of Hope. And you can follow them online, can't you, Andy?
Yep, convoyofhope.org is their website. Check them out. Even consider being a supporter of them, because they just do an amazing job. And they go through the local church. Oh, yeah. So it's not just humanitarian aid, with human energy, human strength. They're actually, trusting the local churches to help minister to people in these times of need.
Incredible.
Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.